Welcome to Tye Management Services activity sampling application. This video shows you how to set up the application and start the study. The second video will show you how to actually take the study. So to open the study, we just click on the icon as normal. This will bring up a welcome screen followed by the study options screen. Here we have two options. We have begin new study and view existing studies. So I'm just going to click on begin new study so I can show you how to set it up. And here we will see the study details screen. The study number here is number 4. Each time you start a new study, this study number will just increment by 1, allowing you to keep track of all of your studies by number. We have to fill in all of the fields, otherwise we can't continue to our study. So I'll just fill in those with just some random information. Obviously you can fill these in correctly. The next line we have is the date, which should mirror the date and time on your phone. And then we have a study type, either rated as it defaults to here, or we can actually click the button and change the study to an unrated study. I'm going to show you a rated study. The interval type can either be constant or random. It defaults to constant, so if I put the interval minutes here, I'll just put 2 minutes in, for example. Use whole numbers for your minutes with a minimum interval of 1 minute. Your maximum interval time can be anything. So at the moment, because we've got it set on a constant study type, this will give us a notification every 2 minutes exactly to start our next round of observations. If we flick that over to a random time, the notification will be given on average between 0 and 4 minutes to give you a random time based around the average of 2 over the course of the study. And secondly, we have an alarm notification. If you've allowed notifications when you open the app originally, you can decide to either enable or disable the alarm. This will give you an audible and a vibrate alarm, which is quite handy if you're in a noisy workplace. I've left it just disabled so it doesn't disturb us. So I'm going to submit those details by pressing the bottom button, and that will take us into the operator input screen. Here I'm going to put in an operator name and hit the plus key. That will enter the operator in there. You can then add further operators, as many as you want, and plus key. And we can also have a machine, because we can also study machines with an activity sample, as we know. If at any time you make an entry and you want to remove it, just press the dustbin corresponding to their name. So I'll destroy Fred here by pressing the dustbin, and that removes him from the study. That's set up all of the names in the study. I can add as many and take operators out or pause them during the study as and when, and as many times as I like. I've just clicked on the activities button at the bottom, and this brings up our 2 default activities in there, which is ineffective and absent. Both of these will be recorded as 0 ratings and classified in the ineffective overall totals. I'm going to add in another activity on, I'll put working on activity sampling and plus that in. Right, you can see there that we've got a working element in there. Let's just add a non-value added element in. So I'll put contingency for now. And I can also put paperwork. Now, paperwork has been entered before, so it comes up with this a screen warning you that you've got it before, so just close on that. And what we can see is next to the activities button we've got a historic button, so I'll just click on that to show you, and there you'll see all of the existing activities we've used in our activity sampling before. So as long as we've used them on the app, you'll see them on here stored. So I can say, right, I want the working element, I want paperwork, I want changeover, I want breakdowns, and I want quality checks, and I'll add those to the study. There we are, they're all listed in there above our ineffective activities. Now, some of these activities, such as breakdown, are non-value added activities. So I just click on the name and then just click the button to change it to a non-value added activity. Click OK. I'll do that for changeover as well. Paperwork, click on paperwork, click the button to change it to non-value added and click OK. Okay, what this will do when we finally do the analysis after the study is it will give you a percentage breakdown for every single element or activity, but it will also subcategorize them into the green, yellow and red areas. The green being the value added activities that you've prescribed, the yellow being the non-value added activities that you've prescribed, and the red are the inactive and absent, the idle times, which will be analysed and subcategorised together. Okay, so now we've got all of our activities in there. We may see other activities and we can add those as and when we like during the study. So I'm actually going to start the study now, and to do that I'm going to click on the top left burger trail, the list trail there, and that opens our back screen. And here we see it's got about, home, current study, existing study, reports, study setup, study details and alarm, and close the application. I'm going to hit on current study, and that will take us to our activity sampling input screen. This will be described in the second video. Welcome to the activity sampling app from Tye Management Services. This is the second video, and this video will show you how to actually take the study. So now we're on the study input screen. We can see our study number is 4. The round number is round number 1 because we haven't taken any previous rounds, and we've got a time there of 11:21 and our alarm is disabled. The next observation is required at 11:23 and 52 seconds. So we could wait for that, and if we did wait for that, it would give us our alarm if we had it enabled. We can override it and take the first observation just by pressing on Stuart. So I'll press on Stuart's name, and that will bring up the set of activities that we've preset. Again, we can add to these just by pressing the activities key at the bottom if we need to. So I'll decide that Stuart was working and his rating was 100. I'll go for Samantha. She's working and she's working at 105. The machine is also working, and obviously a machine is process controlled, so I'll rate that at 100. If you chose a non-rated study, you just don't get the rated options, and it will give you a percentage breakdown without taking into account the rated options. Once I've recorded for all of the operators, I then just click on next observation, and you'll see the round number has changed to round number 2. Click on Stuart again. This time he's on a contingency at an 80. Samantha is still working, and she's working at 105, and the machine is still working at 100. So I'll enter that observation. Right, we're now on the third observation. So I'll click on Stuart. I'll say he's absent. Samantha is working at 100, and I'm intentionally going to miss off machine number 1 and hit next observation. And what happens, it comes up with not all observations have been recorded, so you can either override and move on to the next observational round or close the warning to head back to machine number 1 and put a reading in there. If you didn't need a recording, we could enter the operators and the machine. If you decide not to record machine number 1, just press next observation and press override, and that will take you into the next observational round. I'm just going to keep entering a few of these now at random just to fill up some of the data, because after a certain amount of rounds we're going to see a percentage figure coming up shortly, and this will either be after 10 or 12 observational rounds depending on which version you've got. So just continuing to record here against each person and each machine. I'll just click them all as working at 100% and keep clicking through. Bear with me, you will see a change shortly. Right, you'll see now that we've finished. I've actually entered 13 observational rounds of 3 people in each, or 2 people in a machine in each, and now we've got a complete percentage figure pop up. Now that says 23% at the moment. This is based on the activity sampling n equals 4p open brackets 100 minus p close brackets over L squared, which basically determines how many observations you have to take for the study to be statistically applicable and correct. So at the moment we've taken 20% of our study. This figure does change up and down depending on which activities you actually record against, so don't be surprised to see the complete figure go down as well as up. When you reach 100% complete, what this means is that the study as a whole is statistically accurate. For the individual people, such as Stuart, Samantha, or machine number 1, this will have to be calculated separately. So it's only the overall study that it gives you the percentage complete on, and not the individual operators. For each individual operator you will be looking at in between 200 and 400 observations to make them statistically accurate, or if you just need the data for the group, you need the total recordings for all the group. So if you did 20 recordings for Stuart, 20 recordings for Samantha, and 20 recordings for machine number 1, that would be 60 in total. Okay, so we'll just take one final round. And enter that, and then we can finish the study. Obviously you'll need to keep going until you've done enough to make it statistically accurate. Okay, so I'm going to press the finish button now. I can press pause and pause the study to take it up later on, or leave it for as long as I like and then go back to it. But I'm just going to click the finish button, and then we see we have another warning screen which says study has not reached the limits of accuracy. Well, it was only at 20%. We need it to be 100. So normally we'd have to close this and carry on taking our study, but because this is just a demo, I'll press override, and that will take us to the analysis reports. And all we need to do here is press the send report button. This will bring us our email up, and then I will just enter my email address and send. Okay, now we've sent it, the analysis will appear in our mailbox. As you see, the activity sample results have arrived. Right, just to finish off, I'm just going to show you the burger trail in the top left hand side. We have an about button which takes us to the welcome screen that allows you to go and have a look at the Tye Management Services resources page. This is quite useful, and you'll find a few resources and information on further training, etc. So back to the app. I'll press on the burger trail list again, press on the home key. That takes us to our first screen, our study options screen. Current study, that will take us to our current study. We can look at existing studies in the memory. So if we want to look at study number 2, we can pull that up and continue taking observations against it as I've paused it previously. Our reports there, we'll click on that, and that will allow us to send a report for the activity sample in question. Study setup we've been through, and the study details, we've entered those, and that just leaves us with close up application. Thank you for listening.